Hello and welcome to Achievement Hunting 101. I'm FuFuCuddilyPoof, and this is level 218. Joining me tonight is KooshMoose.
Hello.
Big L.
Hi.
And Matrarch.
Hello. I noticed there was a little pause there as you decided who you were going to introduce first. Just like a little moment.
Yes. I always try to mix it up. That way you guys are always on your toes. I
know.
Try to do the same thing over and over.
Yeah,
and
we don't.
Last week,
we don't do that here.
I was sitting there trying to think of like, who did I introduce first? Who did I do last? I couldn't remember. So I'm like, all right, we'll just do it like this.
Well, maybe the next time KT Echo listens through the podcast, he can tell us the order in which you've introduced everyone for the last however many episodes, and then you'll know.
It's a dead horse
That
show.
would be insane.
We don't do that
It'd be
here.
nice if he knew how many episodes you changed the order and it messed up our what we were going to talk about. He should have that set too.
Roughly 218 episodes.
Huh.
Roughly. Or however many that I've been on. That's how many it's been. Either way. As you can tell by my voice, I am feeling much better. I can actually add a little bit of inflection to my voice this week. It's not just going to be his monotone, awful sound. So with that, I'm ready to talk some games. Let's get started. Let's jump into our topic of discussion this week. And the question comes from GT3 Option Fan. And his question is, if all achievements were discontinued for every game except one game of your choice, and that game was continuously updated, which one Xbox game would you choose to continue playing indefinitely? And I actually will go in order on the sheet. So, Michelle, why don't you go first?
All right, well, I am going to start by reading GT3 Option Fan, whose name we now understand completely, reading
Green thumb.
his answer. So, what's that?
He likes to go to gardening. It stands for green thumb.
Right, we'll go with that. All right, well, GT3 Option Fan says...
What?
You never heard
my
that
choice would be for...
It's all good.
Mm-hmm. So starting again, GT3 Option Fan says, my choice would be Forza Horizon 5. The constant weekly refreshes make for a continual new stream of activities to do in the game, well beyond the base story. Plus, in the theoretical world of indefinite updates, they could update maps and modes, etc. for a very long time. The key for me is that the core gameplay is fun and that there are always ways to keep it fresh. And I love that answer because that is very true of Forza Horizon in general. Like if you think of Forza Horizon 1 as sort of the beginning of this whole thing, and they've just kind of been upgrading and updating on that all along, there's actually kind of precedent for that.
That's a good pick.
Mm-hmm. Devin chimed in after that. None of them. I think I get bored of just about anything. I need more variety. But then as chat continued in Patron VIP, there was sort of a challenge laid out there that's kind of a, easy way out to pick that. Because, listen, all of us can't pick what to play because we've got 100 games to play, right? So he was challenged to pick a game, kinda, and he said probably Morrowind. And I think we're going to see a lot of those kinds of RPGs as we go through this.
Very good choice.
And I wonder why Morrowind...
That's the best Elder Scroll.
Okay, so since you have familiarity, Kennedy, why Morrowind over Elder Scrolls, over Oblivion? What is it about Morrowind?
Okay, well, first off, let me just throw it out there. It is a dated game. If you look at Morrowind compared to Oblivion, compared to Skyrim, it is definitely a dated game. It came out on the OG Xbox, so there are lots of rough patches in it. The thing about Morrowind that I personally like so much more than the others is there is more a freedom of choice in that there is more options and more skills and more weapons and spells and stuff like that like slowly as the games have gone on, they've kind of taken those away, and I would love to put them back in. Also, if you get into the lore and whatnot in the Elder Scrolls, I really, really, really like the not continent, but like the the area of Morrowind. That's an actual area in Cyrodiil. So,
Cool.
I mean, Oblivion, in my opinion, is the best one out of all of them. But yeah, Morrowind is a phenomenal game. Dated, but phenomenal.
Awesome. And then finally, I have EMZ Fergie, who said Guitar Hero, shrug. And Guitar Hero is another kind of safe and interesting pick at the same time, because they can continually update it with more songs. Rock Band sort of gave us a tease of that, and if there was only Rock Band left, I don't know that many of us would complain. So for myself, we spoke about this obviously a little before we hit record, and the challenge in some way comes thinking outside the box, right? Kenny, you were saying this as well, because if you know me, it's very easy to go, okay, Tetris. But I actually came with two games that I would pick that are non-Tetris games. One, similar to Forza Horizon, would be Burnout Paradise. I just love Burnout Paradise. And if they could keep making expansions like the Big Surf Island in perpetuity.
It's also a good answer.
And having more challenges where, like, the game itself is fun. The core game is fun. But some of the most fun I had with it is that whole idea that the multiplayer was blocked off into 2-player, 3-player, 4-player, up to 8-player challenges. And getting people together to go through the billboards or do barrel rolls and all that. I could do that forever. And I've done Burnout Paradise twice, and I would do it again if the option was out there. The other one I came up with that I would be happy with would actually be Stardew Valley. Because there's
that's a good pick.
Knew it.
There's just but there's just so much you could do. It's got so much built into it because it's a game that just goes on forever. You can add more to the mines. You can do you can have more quests. The way that the achievement list is structured now, you kind of have the good ending way and the bad ending way, but the stuff you do along there is more or less the same, but you can have different achievements that are attached to, okay, while in this playthrough of the game, do X, Y, and Z thing. So I think either one of those would be fun games to play for a long, long time with more and more achievements added.
I knew you were going to pick that one.
It's so good.
Once a month.
It's so good.
And you walk so slow in that game that it's just the perfect game to choose. Oh my god!
Just all you have to do is
that's the thing about
game.
You know, you learn how to make coffee in the game, and you just keep coffee with you, and then you move much faster. That's it.
Oh, really?
That's it. Mm-hmm.
Well, that's the thing about about this question is you need to pick a game that has longevity, something that isn't just the same old, because you do want a little bit of a variety in the gameplay, or at least a lot to do in said game.
Mm-hmm.
That's where most people, as soon as they heard this question, they immediately go to, all right, what RPG can I play, or what MMO can I play forever?
Right.
I'll go ahead and start reading off some Patreon responses now. First comes from Ohizo, and jeez, he says, "I need the variety to keep me interested in it, but if I had to pick the one to get the most longevity for me, it would probably be Mass Effect. But honestly, after finishing the last mission last night, I could get behind more Halo Wars 2. Now, Mass Effect, that's definitely one that I thought of as well. Probably like most others, because that is, like a 60-hour game up front. Halo Wars 2, I'm actually kind of surprised. But at the same time, I know that Ahizo is an RTS fan. So that does make sense that he would want to play that. And while I've not played Halo Wars 2, everyone said there's no one out there that says that the game is bad. Everyone just raves about it.
Yeah, I know he and Devin were doing the co-op campaign.
Right.
And I guess the question never actually said, could you play multiplayer with someone? Because the first thought is a big solo RPG, but it sounds like some people assume multiplayer will still be active.
Yeah. I mean, that's what I'm kind of assuming. I assume multiplayer will be active.
If the achievements are going to be updated continuously, then of course there must be internet. So there's going to be multiplayer.
Chewy also chimed in and said, I'm also a variety person. The sheer breadth of games available is what keeps me interested. So if this hypothetical scenario happened, I'd likely use it as a way of breaking the habit entirely.
Boring.
But if I had to pick, it would be a big open world RPG because maybe then I'd actually get back into them. Most likely contender would be Fallout. Again, another big big RPG they can sink lots and lots of time into. Fallout would be a good one too.
Which one?
And then I assume he meant 4 just because it's the most recent. But yeah, he didn't really specify. I mean, it might be 76, having an MMO to play forever. And then MDP chimed in and to no surprise said Rocket League.
That game has probably the least variety, but
right.
But
every
Rocket League,
so much
is
fun.
different.
Right, Rocket League is one of those games, though, where especially now that it's a free-to-play game, like with all these other free-to-play games that get all these title update achievements, like that's a game that everyone would welcome more achievements. Like I know we've talked about before, like it's sad in some ways that those achievements, many of us boosted early on before we really started playing it because
they dried out.
It's fun. You'll get them naturally as you play, and that should get some more achievements. Like forget the desert island scenario. It's like well overdue to get some other achievements. There's never been any achievements tied to the seasons that are part of it now. It's just a missed opportunity. That would be so much fun.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
so for my answer for this, I as well want a little bit of variety, and to try to mix it up instead of just saying Halo, because obviously Master Chief Collection, that's easy. You got 5 different games in there. It's no big deal.
Smart.
But I didn't want to choose that.
Oh.
So instead, and also to hit the variety thing, I chose the Orange Box.
Whoa.
Good one.
If you don't know, that has 3 different games in it. It has Half-Life 2, Portal, and Team Fortress 2. Now, I love Portal. So the thought of them continuously updating that and continuously adding more achievements and more levels to that is awesome. Not Fallout, why am I saying it? Half-Life 2, I'm hoping that maybe if they update the game, it would actually become playable and won't feel like a 40-year-old shooter game, and it actually might be good. And I might get around to playing it then, because I don't want anything to do with that game right now. It's too old for me.
I feel targeted.
Indeed.
Fight me. But then Team Fortress 2, however, I am a huge fan of that as well. Back in the day, I used to have me and my brother and a couple of friends. We would play Team Fortress 2, and quite literally, we didn't lose because we played so much. We were very, very good in that game. I had so much fun with that. And once again, assuming, like we said before, if the game is constantly being updated and it assumes that servers are still on and people are continuously playing it, having a first-person shooter like that, and especially with Team Fortress 2, where there's enough of a variety in the game modes, that would be a ton of fun to play for forever. After that, let's go to L. What will be your games?
Hello. I was going to make another point about Rocket League that I forgot. Oh yeah, I was going to say that we've had several times where we get into Rocket League really hard for like a few days. But I don't know how these people can play it every day, but I guess you got to pick one game. Let me mull this over for a minute and go to X the Hero, who said, I also need variety, but that's not the spirit of the question. My answer could honestly work for any fighting game. Instead of a sequel, just add some new mechanics or tweak existing ones. Add some new stages, add some new characters, costumes, skins, custom character decoration pieces, and the amount of content is largely limitless. All right.
That's not a bad answer.
I mean, I wish he would have named a fighting game. We'll pretend he said Killer Instinct. I know he likes that one. And last week's question, Guy Rutarek said, Hitman 3. I absolutely love playing through all of the levels they currently have, so more of that would be excellent. Could add some of the achievements they had in Blood Money, like certain titles at the end of a level, completing a level with only certain weapons, etc. The scope is huge for that game. All right, I don't know much about the Hitman games, but they're pretty well liked, I believe. I don't know if anyone here's played any Hitman games. Have you, Nate?
I've played a little Hitman.
Oh, yeah?
Oh, yeah. Played a little Hitman 2, I think. And my favorite part of Hitman is not the traditional Hitman levels, although that is fun. It is nice having the freedom and ability to complete the level in a couple different ways that make you feel like you're smart. But they totally planned it that way. My favorite part of the Hitman 2 were, I think, the DLC levels where you were basically just up in a sniper's nest. And so the game completely changed to where you're just looking at everything that's going on really far away, and you're, just shooting and causing all kinds of mayhem. They tell you, oh, the person's in this floor, and you have to go. So you have to like find them in the building and then shoot them through the thing when nobody's looking, and it's really fun. And that's not the main game, but that was a lot of fun. If they kept doing that, that would be my answer. That'd be a great answer.
I'm trying to think of an answer for myself. We have some cheating answers now that you got me thinking about the Halo collection having multiple games in one. I could pick like the Sega Genesis collection and have like 100 games to play.
You wouldn't pick Rare Replay?
Keep adding achievements for them. Yeah, Rare Replay. Or I could go boring and go with something like Gears 5. Because Gears in itself has variety. You have the campaign, you have Horde, you have multiplayer, you have events. There's always something going on. As long as you're able to play with friends, because I can't imagine anyone doing Horde solo. There's got to be someone good enough, but even 5 players would get wiped out on casual.
Well, there's the potential for there's the potential for improvement with the Gears list too, because I can't speak to 4 or 5 because I haven't explored the list with that much depth. But the biggest problem with 3 is that you finish everything you need to do before Seriously 3.0, well before you'll ever get Seriously 3.0. And if they were updating the game in such a way where they're going to keep updating it for a long time, you'll get stuff along the way. So before you get the 5,000 kills you need with a weapon, here's an achievement for 100. Here's an achievement for 1,000. So it could actually make it less frustrating in that way, because that, at least speaking for myself, that's the most frustrating part of the Gears 3 list is there's just not enough on the way to finishing it.
Right. And the same could be said for 1 and 2.
Mm-hmm.
It was actually the obnoxious lists that made me think of Gears 4 and 5. That way you'd have more time to work on them if you only had one game. And eventually I might get good enough to beat the game on Insane by myself. And then there's another one now, Inconceivable. Inconceivable. We're going to go to Nate. I think it's his turn.
Awesome. And by going to me, I'm going to go to Philip Wendell.
Ooh.
He says GTA 5 single player only. Plenty of variety and possibility for creative achievements, but no multiplayer, please. Also, Carcassonne.
How dare you?
I know I nailed that pronunciation, because that game is really fun and hard to pronounce. Yeah, I mean, gee, Rockstar has made I think the last number was a bajillion T. I think they made a bajillion T dollars off of GTA 5. So yeah, they're pretty good at keeping that thing just humming.
I could tell
if they could just add achievements, that'd be great.
I could tell you that I completed Carcassonne on Xbox Live Arcade, and I have no idea how to play it. So there's something to be said for that one. But I do remember it being fun.
You say so. I mean, aren't you like trading like hay for rocks and clamshells?
Have you played the real one, Michelle, with your group?
I haven't actually, because it's the way board games are now. Like games like that one and Ticket to Ride are like, oh, those are like old school now. We need to play these newer, far more complicated games that everyone kickstarted in the last year. So I've never actually played that one in a physical context. I have it at work, so any day now we can sit down and play it there. But no,
really?
not to this point. I could borrow it. We'll see if we can figure out the board game some weekend.
Yeah.
I mean, I would play Cones of Dunshire. I mean, that I would check out.
Oh, now that's something I want to play.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, Kenny perked right up.
Good timing to come back.
Teleported right back in.
You weren't gone.
No,
No way you were
definitely
gone.
weren't gone.
So moving on, Wild West 08 says, I would probably do Fallout with them updating it with different cities. Other idea would be some management type game set in a universe I like with updating conditions.
The universe I like.
Well,
Now he's
I'm not there with you. Yeah.
Good.
Not there with you, but I'm happy that you're happy. Rhett Stack, just because it's management, it's not my favorite. Rhett Stack says, probably one of the Bethesda Oh my gosh. Probably one of the Bethesda RPGs. Fallout, Elder Scrolls, or No Man's Sky. Yeah.
No Man's Sky. That's a good answer.
Yeah, I need to get into that game before it leaves Game Pass. After they've iterated like 3,000 times. It'd be nice to see what it is now.
It's good now. It's actually really cool.
That's what people have said. So I'll like to check that out.
I have a friend that's really into it, and he's been trying to get me to play it, but like, I don't have 1,000 hours to dump into that game like he does.
Hawkeye Barry says you could explore new areas of. Oh, I guess I should go with the game first. He says Batman Arkham City.
Ooh.
Batman Arkham City.
Interesting choice.
You can explore new areas of Gotham, new storylines with new enemies, eventually having a Batman Beyond expansion. But keep the combat and Predator maps to a minimum and only needed to be completed by one character. Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah. That silliness of having to complete with every car or every version of the Batmobile and every character and their alternate costume was a little bit crazy.
But they're going to keep updating.
Yeah.
There's a new Batman costume every 6 months.
That's true. It's like, what's the new Batman movie costume? Yeah, let's do that.
I think
Yeah.
the Predator.
Here's my Affleck Batman.
Ben Affleck. We need Predator maps with Arnold Schwarzenegger. I think that would be a good one.
I suppose along this line of thinking,
I know.
something like Marvel Ultimate Alliance, probably, like, if the game didn't put me to sleep every time I tried to play it, probably would be a fun one to have this perpetually updating sort of motif, especially if it updates along with the cinematic universe.
I mean, yeah, they've got storylines, every week, right? So that'd be a lot of content to draw from.
Actually, really, any of the superhero games could really work with that. For the most part, anyway, because there's always a new comic, always a new story.
True. Koosh, did you happen to pick a superhero game as your choice?
I did not. I picked Titanfall.
Because
oh my gosh.
Good call.
My gosh, I love Titanfall.
Good.
And they put out having new CTF maps or new Titan models that you could have, cores and all that, and just add new weapons and they could cycle them out. But my favorite was always Frontier Defense. I just love Frontier Defense.
Oh yeah.
And so if they could
you keep asking,
if they could just keep pumping out. I keep asking you to let me play
to do the 360 version. Yes.
Yeah.
So if they kept pushing out new Frontier Defense maps, I think that'd be so cool.
That's cool.
And if there were achievements tied to it, I would just love that. And my hope is that there has been talk that Titanfall is not dead. There could be a Titanfall 3. And if they do, I hope that they really go back to having more multiplayer achievements that are achievable. They only had like 2 achievements in Titanfall 2 in the multiplayer, which thankfully, because it didn't seem like it was a fantastic sequel. Like I love the original. I do like the coolness of the single player in Titanfall 2. That was good to have, but I would love to have that kind of multiplayer support like they had in the first one, and just have something, just keep doing cool Frontier Defense. Like that was so much fun. And every game is different because of the people you play with. So that to me would be a great one to keep going with.
We really don't need a Titanfall 3. We need a Titanfall half of 1 and half of 2. We need Titanfall 1's multiplayer and Titanfall 2's campaign, and just marry them and put them out together. The campaign in Titanfall 2 was really good. And like just the gameplay was so sharp. It was fun. The different Titans in there. It was awesome. and the multiplayer was fine, but the lack of achievements stopped people from engaging with it. And the Titanfall 1 multiplayer was so good. I'm with you, like Frontier Defense. And the other thing about Titanfall, the game that it was by the end wasn't the game it was when it launched. So you know that team can adapt and evolve. Like the whole black market was not part of the game at launch. Like they have a capacity to, we know that, to make the game different. That's such a great choice, Koosh. Excellent choice.
Yeah,
it really is.
Thank you. I thought about myself.
Titanfall 2 campaign is easily one of the best first-person shooting campaigns of all time. It's
great.
So good. And like Michelle said, like all the mechanics and the gunplay and the Titans, just everything about that game is just
the movement. Oh my gosh. I love the wall running movement.
It's so good.
So stinking cool.
I don't know how they perfected it so easily, or I mean not easily, but like Titanfall 1, it's just perfection. It is so good. Yeah, we need more Titanfall.
Yeah, we do.
And EA needs to not do them dirty by sandwiching it between Call of Duty
yes, please.
and Battlefield.
Please don't intentionally murder your own game. That was horrible.
Like, my goodness. Release Titanfall and do it in like the summer or something where nothing's around. Let it have its time in the sun. Because it could be fun, a huge game.
Kettle Karn.
Oh my goodness.
Blast from the past.
So much. All right. Yeah, that was our topic for this week.
Thanks, Green Thumb.
That was good. That was fun. And if any patron has an idea for a question, be sure to send one of us a message or post it in the patron VIP channel on Discord or something like that, and we'll throw it in the bag. Got a list of questions. So
yeah, the last 2 weeks I got PM'd out of the blue. People are ready for this now.
Yeah, you got something on your mind? Let us know. You can pick a topic or ask a question or whatever. Patrons kind of have free reign on what to ask for that one. In reason.
First half hour of the show
within reason.
is because of you guys, basically. So thank you.
Yeah. We don't want to give like Saucy free reign on what we're talking about. That could be very bad.
I think Mac Jones left on a stretcher, so that was pretty cool. I mean, terrible for him, but...
How'd the Giants do?
Next question, please. Game showcase.
All right, yeah, let's get into a game showcase. Nate, you go first.
I'm totally ready to do that, so I will.
Show one first in the last one, so we're throwing the script out.
Oh, here we go again.
I come prepared, sir. I know what I'm doing. So a game I played last week, let's see. Beacon Pines, brand new, get a Game Pass, surprising no one. I decided to check this game out because the other game I wanted to talk about, I had not put enough time into yet. And I really want to do it service next week. So I picked something a little bit shorter, and that happened to be Beacon Pines. This is basically a really good looking choose your own adventure novel.
Really?
Now, it doesn't quite seem like that, and it's labeled as adventure. I don't know how much adventure it is. Maybe. No. I think it's a choose your own adventure novel. They need to add that genre because that's what it is. You play as a cute little anthropomorphized deer person. And if you've seen Sweet Tooth, you're a little bit like that, but you're definitely more deer than human. And you have had a rough go of life. And you are just hanging with your friend, living with your grandmother, and just, going about your day. And you try to get into, trouble with your friend. There's a tree house. There's all this fun sort of stuff that you just kind of go off and exploring. And within about the first hour, you realize this is not a kid's game.
Really?
Oh yeah, really. It kind of looks like a kid-friendly game, and it's not for kids. It's not like way over the top. But one of the things you do is you pick up action words as you go along. So you'll see something cool, you'll have a conversation with someone, and you pick up one of about, I want to say 15 or 20, I'm probably wrong on that, action words. you will occasionally come to points in the story where you have to fill in the blank. And you fill in the blank with the action words that are available to you at that time. You could eventually go down a couple paths, couple different ways to go, and then get a word, and then be able to go back to other position in time, like the very first choice or the second choice, and then plug in that action word that you had no access to previously. And that will then branch the story a different way, where you can pick up new action words and then go back and branch the story. Which sounds really complicated, right? It sounds like, oh my gosh, this thing could go so many different ways. Thankfully, it doesn't. Thankfully, they've kind of kept it to a minimum as far as how far it can branch and what you really have to do. Which is, sometimes you'll go into a brand new branch and then you'll get to a death screen. That was my first surprise. Like, oh, I'm dead. Okay, that's interesting. Yeah, and then later on, like one of your choices is to drop the S-bomb. That's when I knew for a fact that this wasn't a kid's game. Clearly, one of your actions is to drop a curse word into a blank. I was like, okay, so this is not Mad Libs for kids. But yeah, the game is beautiful. They have big interactive talking heads when they're having conversations, so you get to see really good detail on these characters. There's a lot to read. They have the little neener speech when people are talking, but the narrator is talking constantly, kind of introducing and in between all of the little conversations that you read. She's talking and telling you about the story. The story was a little hard to follow at first, but by the end I was like, okay, I buy it. Like before I was just like, this is kind of weird. Don't really buy it. I don't really, whatever. I'm not super invested. But by the end I was like, okay, no, I enjoyed my time with this, and I enjoyed the story, and I enjoyed the presentation. I think brings out the story. Like I said, I didn't think it was super convoluted in terms of the branching, so I think you're going to be able to keep it all together. I think most people are going to have the same basic path through the game. When I take these games, because I know I'm trying to see everything, I typically do stuff that makes it easy for me to remember what I did the last time. So I always pick the top option or the left option, and so that the next time I go through, I can pick the one next to that, and I know that even if I really want to do this one option, no, I'm picking the one on the left always, just so I know on my second playthrough, I know exactly what's going on. So that's how I played it. Maybe other people don't want to play it that way, and that's fine, because this game does a really good job of dog-earing the options that you have picked. So when you go back to a conversation or you go back to a branching path, it'll show you all the options you have, which ones you've selected have a check mark. Anything you haven't selected is doesn't have that check mark. So okay, I have to do this if I want to get to a new branching. And it's a fun game. I wouldn't say it's like super funny. There are some fun parts or some funny parts. But all in all, a pleasant experience, decent music throughout, and the achievements were there weren't that many. There's only 10. And I wouldn't say that they were all fun-based or all story-based. There are a couple. There's one for like doing a certain action 20 times. You don't need to do it, but why not? And then I think the rest of them are basically just story-based. So there's one or two that are just fun little, hey, did you try this? Because that's weird. Did you try this weird answer? Because that's kind of funny. So yeah, all in all, a pretty fun short experience. I played it over 2 or 3 sessions and got it done in, it says 5 hours and 36 minutes. So.
Oh, wow. That's a lot shorter. I was kind of expecting.
Yeah, no, it was pleasant. But definitely not for kids, even though it kind of looks that way. And yeah, it was a good time.
For the
outside
achievements.
Of the S-bomb. Oh.
Go ahead.
Got too much. So Nate, outside of the S-bomb, is there any sense?
Yeah, I wouldn't say there's like a ton of cussing. There's a little bit of cuss words, but it's
the topics are
yes. Yes, it's the content.
Okay.
It's the content of what goes on in the story is a little bit heavy.
Okay. So it was rated teen.
I didn't want to get I didn't want to get too much into like his backstory, but he's had a rough life, and you're going to find out about it. So,
So for the achievements, I know you kind of
now, Michelle,
touched
you
on
had a question?
Yeah, so you touched on the achievements briefly, and it's clearly not overly difficult to get, but you mentioned one where you have to do some action 20 times. Like, how much of the list did you wind up getting, like, on your own through natural playthrough? Did you go clean stuff up? Like, was it obvious the ones that were a little out of the way? Because you did get the completion, and it looks like you got completion within the amount of time that's kind of the standard. But was that based on, like, looking for the achievements through the list, or did you find all that on your own?
Well, the story-based stuff obviously just kind of happened. Then there were a couple things that, just because of the way I play, like, oh, there's a thing in this room, I'm going to find all the things in this room. Well, there's an achievement for doing that in a particular room. And then the one I completely missed because I just wasn't paying attention. Or, I'm sorry, one I got because I wasn't paying attention. And that's for leaving something open in a room. It's like when you're going through... You're looking through drawers and things like that. I accidentally left something open or running, and then I went into the next room. And apparently that's an achievement. Now, it didn't pop for me. So that was kind of like a silent pop. I went back and I looked and I was like, oh, there's an achievement for that? I was like, I'll have to remember to do that next time. And I was like, oh, wait, no, I've got that. But it didn't pop. That was weird. And I actually had a story point. The achievement didn't pop for me. And I was still progressing, and I refreshed. And I said, oh, let me see what I'm missing. And there was one for getting to an action or a story point that happens multiple times, right? Because this is a choose your own adventure. So you're going to see the same thing happen. Even though you're doing things differently, the same major events are going to happen. And so this major event happened multiple times, and I didn't get the achievement the first time, and it didn't pop the other times. And then towards the end of the game, when I had 2 achievements left, and I guess there was one between that one and the one that didn't pop. When I got the third to last achievement, the one that I should have gotten popped up as well. I didn't see it on the Xbox, but when I went to True Achievements, it was gone. So that was a little bit wonky, but it wasn't too bad. So how much did I find on my own? A few, but there are some that you're going to have to. Unless you're super thorough, you're going to have to maybe go back and do a partial replay. The nice thing about that, though, is at any point in the game, you can press Y and it'll bring up the tree of all the branching paths, and you can choose any of those nodes to jump to, even if it's one you've already done before. You can choose an old option that you chose just to get down a certain path, maybe to get to an action word that you hadn't discovered. When you're looking at a solution. So, which is what I had to do. I was missing one action word. I didn't know how to get it. And I had to go replay a little segment that I'd already done and just find this action word that I must have missed somehow.
All right.
Sounds like a fun one.
Yeah. Fun little game.
Yeah. Something different. That actually sounds kind of interesting. When you first started off, I thought it was just going to be a boring old point and click, but this one actually seems a little interesting, at least. Being able to, choose your answer, Mad Lib style.
Is there no actual gaming other than picking choices and dropping in these action words? Like, I know in Telltale games, sometimes you kind of walk from point A to point B or whatever. It's all just presented kind of static, or do you have to do some action occasionally?
Yeah, you have agency over what rooms you go into and what you click on. You kind of run up to a little area, and then like a little context icon will pop up if you can look at it, and then you'll do something with it. And most times you have your choice of where you can go. Every now and then you'll walk into an invisible wall and be like, oh, I can't go there now because I'm supposed to meet blah, blah, blah for coffee. So they do kind of control you that way, but it's not as if you're just, following like a sometimes you visual novel or anything.
Gotcha.
You do have movements around. You have to sometimes you have to pick up objects and throw them into other objects. There's a tiny little bit of gameplay with that, but for the most part, it's just exploration and conversation. And there's no quick time. There's nothing like, for people that get worried about how much attention I need to be paying. Is there like muscle memory stuff. Do I have to have like quick twitch muscles going? And no, you don't.
Oh, good. The quick time was the worst of the Telltales. Just let me play the story.
Well, it sounds like it might be a good, and I don't know, Nate, if this is the case, but it sounds like be a good candidate for people who have spouses or significant others who won't necessarily play a game but will watch and engage that way, that this might be a game that's good for that sort of thing, especially with the choice aspect.
True.
Possibly, yeah.
All right. Let's get into the next game. Michelle, what game would you like to talk about?
Well, Nate just talked about Beacon Pines, which is a shiny new Game Pass game. I'm going to talk about a really old Game Pass game at this point. Slay the Spire. So, Kenny, I think you dabbled in it, I saw. Maybe. I'm surprised you haven't played more of it, actually.
I have.
Slay the Spire.
I'm surprised I haven't played more of it either.
Yeah, it's a roguelike card game. The way that it's framed is, at the beginning, you pick between one of 3 default characters, and you do eventually open up a 4th. These 3 characters have different card sets that are based on the character you chose, and you have to climb up a tower. And you climb up the tower by proceeding up a map where you're either going to fight battles, you're going to fight elite battles, you might have a shop that you go to, or question mark rooms. And it is the best deck building game I think I've ever seen. The balancing is so perfect. So I've been playing Slay the Spire on and off for a couple years. I've had something like 30 or 40 failed runs, and I finally got one successful run. And what's great about Slay the Spire is I never felt discouraged by the fact that I was failing so much, because there are just so many layers to the way that things are built, because you always start with the same set of, I think, 6 or 8 cards. It's always 3 strike cards, 3 defense cards, and 1 or 2 special cards based on the character you chose. And every time you finish a battle, you can choose to add 1 more card to your deck. You can choose from 3 cards, and they're randomized. So you don't guarantee the same gameplay twice. And for example, with the character I finally beat it with is the character called the Defect. And the Defect has these different modes that it goes through. Different orbs it channels, and depending on the orb, it has certain effects. So if you channel a lightning orb, it'll do damage. If you channel a plasma orb, it'll give you more energy to do more moves. So I went through a run where I just focused on those lightning orbs. But the next time when I went through to play it, I just didn't get any of the random cards that would let me do that. So I had to take a different tactic and focus more on the defensive orbs. And it's great. And Kenny, I'm shocked you haven't played more of it. It is so good. And the cherry on top of all that is it plays great on cloud-based play on your phone with touch controls. So I've been playing it every morning on the way to work, and it's been awesome.
Yeah, that is definitely a good game candidate for touch controls over xCloud. Yeah, I think the biggest reason I haven't played more of it is I started along while I was playing Hades. So whenever it's just like, all right, I sit down and I want to play a game, or I want to play a roguelike, like I'm in that mood, I'm like, I want to play Hades just because like, he was just so perfect.
That. Well, and it's not
so good. So
Slay the Spire isn't an action game, so I understand. But the thing to keep in mind,
it's totally different,
right? And the thing to keep in mind with Slay the Spire 2, and one of the other things I love about it is it saves after every interaction up the tower, so to speak. The tower climb involves 3 floors essentially, so you play all the battles or other rooms up until you hit a final battle, and then you do that a second time and then a third time. And if you finish all 3 times, there's one little final scene at the end, and then the gameplay just kind of repeats from there. It's every time you get through a room, every time you start a boss encounter, the game saves, and it works great with that. So when I have like 5 minutes at work, I'll pop on, I'll do one battle real quick, and then when I get home, I could just boot up the game and play another battle. So it's really, really great for like just jump in, jump out, end of the day, play one round or whatever. It also features daily climbs. The daily climbs have certain pre-selected modifiers on them. So there may be only boss encounters. You may not be able to heal, things like that. And there is one achievement attached to daily climbs that I have not earned yet. But the achievement list is difficult, and I can't speak too well to it. Like there are definitely folks in the community. I know as soon as I finally finished a successful run, I like went right to my computer and messaged Kronos because I was just so excited to have finished it, and he's super into the game. Play Ultimates reached out to offer help, so we have folks within the community who are very knowledgeable about the game and have completed it, so it's completable. But it's not easy. But the more you play it and the more you gain a mastery and an understanding of the different cards and how they interact with each other, you also get relics throughout the game. And the relics give you certain, sometimes permanent, sometimes one-time buffs. So the way that those interact with you, the more you know about those things, like you feel like more powerful playing it because you can make more informed decisions. And once again, the balancing in the game is just about perfect. I've lost over and over and over, and it never felt unfair. It always just felt like, okay, I learned something. Let's jump in and do that again. So it's great. And again, as a game that really shows like the convenience of cloud that is not going to be too powerful for any of your devices, it is an absolutely great choice. I can't recommend Slay the Spire highly enough. Even with the achievements being tough, they're doable. You just have to... It's a long completion.
Yeah, it's a grind.
But you're not going to play it for 200 hours straight. You're going to play it for 20 minutes here and 15 minutes there, and it'll totally grab you that way.
It also does the nice carrot on a stick to where, like you're saying, even though you lost, you don't feel completely until you defeat it. You go, I know I can do better next time.
Mm-hmm.
You just get that little bit, and it's like, I could go a little bit farther. I know I can go a little bit farther until you finally actually do win.
Right. And also at the end of your runs, you do get experience of a sort. And once you hit certain levels, you do unlock new cards that you can use, new relics that become available that you may see. So you also are increasing kind of your pool of things that you can use to assist you to have better runs. So it really encourages you continuing to go back. If I had talked about this game prior, like if I didn't know I was talking about this game today for Game Showcase, this probably would have been one of my choices for the patron question. Because this is something where they could easily add another character or another set of cards.
Good call too.
And it would be totally fine.
Yeah. Slay the Spire, great. That's a good pick. That is a good game, and it's like I said, it's something I have downloaded. I just haven't gone back to it just quite yet.
Yeah,
and I know that is also one of those games where when you start to play, it's always one more thing.
Mm-hmm.
Let me just do one more. Add one more. Next thing you know, it's 3 a.m. and you have to go to bed because you got work the next day.
I think too, if you're interested in collectible card game type games anyway, most of them aren't super quick, but the thing I would most strongly advise is if the achievement list is scaring you off, don't let it do that because it's not like Gears of War where you're going to have to boost it for hours and hours and hours and hours. You just have to find little bits of time here and there and give it a shot. Maybe it'll leave Game Pass someday. It's been in Game Pass a very long time. It's worth the price to own it if it leaves Game Pass.
I also don't know for sure, but I don't think it's an easy dive game. I don't know if you can remember.
Oh, man.
I see the first achievement that I unlocked is defeated Hexaghost, but I have no idea of how long that is into the game.
Yeah,
I
feel like
TA says I have almost 3 hours into it, so
you've put in time. It's not that you haven't, it's not like you just dipped your toe in the water. I'm just trying to look real quick and see if I had something similar. Yeah, it looks like the first achievement you tend to get is the beating the boss of the first part of the climb. So once you know how to play the game, that'll probably take you a half hour. And you may dumb luck into it in about a half hour. But yeah, there's no like pop it on and then you're going to immediately get this thing and have it on your tag. So you can try a few battles before you're committed to it.
Yeah. I mean, there are other easier quote unquote achievements like win a battle with 1 HP remaining that you might luckily or unluckily run into depending on if you want the thing on your tag. So like there is that, but yeah, I don't think this is a super easy dive.
Yeah, that would be the one
for too long, you will get.
Yeah. And even the first couple battles are constructed in such a way that you're not supposed to get steamrolled at the beginning, even when you're brand new to it. You're going to get through the first part of the climb pretty easily and probably get through the first floor probably takes about a half hour. So you'll have enough time to have gauged if it's something you think you want to continue with.
Yeah. Slay Spire, definitely a good game. Well, in that case, let's end this with L. What game would you like to talk
Man, don't you want to know?
about? I do.
So you remember how last week Michelle was really excited for Suikoden 1 and 2 being announced?
I'm still excited for it.
Yes.
All right, well, there's a game coming out really soon that I am very excited for. And it's going to be way better than your silly little Suikoden.
And that's how we know that it's not.
What do you mean?
Nothing.
And
Continue.
that, of course, is going to be Goat Simulator 3.
My point exactly.
I'm pumped. Which, of course, is the sequel to Chewy's favorite game, Goat Simulator. Apparently, a lot of people missed the joke that there's no Goat Simulator 2. Where's 2? Did I miss 2? No, idiots. It's a funny game. They do funny things to get you noticed things. Dopies. I think also that the developers said there will never be a Goat Simulator 2, so they didn't lie. They didn't lie. I think the trailer was supposed to be a send-up of Dead Island 2, which had a trailer years ago and then never materialized anything. So there's a lot to keep track of with these little inside jokes and inside humor. So anyway, I've been working on Goat Simulator on Windows, which is amazing. It's so much fun to play on a computer. So I went through my third iteration of Flappy Goat. And I guess luckily for me, it didn't take me more than like 10, 15 minutes to get it done.
Screw you.
I know. I'm good at it. I'm so good. I don't know what I do. I just throw on a bunch of mutators and slows it down a little bit, and it seems to work. It seems to do the trick. So I have this on my RTDL, and since it's Scavenger and it includes DLC now, I have no idea which DLC it's from. So I've been going through all of them. So I've done the MMO one, which I really like. I think it's hilarious. And it's also the easiest one. It's got Diablo. There's a Diablo part. There's like Harry Potter stuff. There's all kinds of fun Easter eggs and inside jokes. And there's YouTube videos dedicated to telling you all the references. It's actually pretty cool to go through and see. Goat Simulator is one of those games where people just write it off, and first they think of Flappy Goat, which isn't quite fair to the rest of the game. Then they think of the bad controls, which is fair to the rest of the game. So
yeah, it's great.
But once you get the mutators, you can like fly around and you can float and you can pretty much get wherever you need to get. They've added so much. In the MMO DLC, there's a anti-gravity mutator, so you could just basically get anywhere, and it's not that bad. So if you use the walkthrough on TA, or because the achievements, let's be honest, you're not going to know what to do without a guide for half of them or most of them. And then you got to find the collectible trophies. So after the MMO one, I did the Goat Z one, which I'll be honest, for the longest time, I thought it was just called Goats with the Z at the end. I had no idea it was a send-up of Daisy.
Oof.
But it is. And now that I've played Daisy, and I'm really good at boosting that game, by the way. You could ask anybody. Now I know all the references. They even have the same little crates fall from the sky. And you can find weapons in there, and you can kill zombies, and there's challenges to do, quests to do. So that one was a little bit trickier because, the other thing I'm known for, Michelle can attest to this, is I'm very good at crafting and
standing at workbenches. Yeah.
Crafting tables. Yes. Workbenches. Yeah, there is workbench, and you can craft things in the Daisy DLC. And there's some fun puns in there also. There's a rice place called Dead Ricing. There's there's all kinds of stuff like that if you look hard enough. So I did those two DLCs. I enjoy these stupid games. I don't know why. Maybe because
It's dumb fun.
it's dumb fun. Yeah. So I started up the Waste of Space DLC, which has a lot of Star Wars references and things like that. The main issue I have with the game is that it doesn't save your progress. So you have to get a bunch of money and you have to save up for stuff. And if the game crashes, or if you sit there for a while, sometimes the game will just freeze or stop or something. And that happened to me, unfortunately. So I have to start over. So basically, it even says on TA that the game has issues saving your progress, and the correct only known fix currently is to play in one sitting. Yeah, you got to play in one sitting. Luckily, the DLCs are no more than 2 hours or so. Some of them might be 3. The last DLC is Payday, which is hilarious also because we dabbled in some Payday 2 back a few years back, and you have the stupid masks on, and you try to commit crimes. And these goats are just jerks. They headbutt people and steal. I don't know. It is just dumb fun. I can't believe this game. I think this game's 8 years old now. I think it came out in 2014. And
That's
yeah. And I think it started the craze with all the simulator games. I'm pretty sure that this was it. I really feel like this was it. Not that flight simulator game. That one doesn't count. Goat Simulator.
I was gonna say, I'm pretty sure there's quite a bit of simulators before this.
Oh, you think so? There's another fun part in the DayZ DLC where there's an achievement called Goat Simulator, and you actually have to find this pen, and you go in the pen, and you can't do any of your jumps or any of your moves. You just have to sit there and graze, and it's so that's an actual goat simulator. So you have to sit there for 5 minutes and get an achievement. So there are clever things, and they do pay attention to the achievements, try to do clever stuff with fun names. So Goat Simulator 3 comes out in November, but I don't see it. I don't think it was announced for Game Pass, which makes me sad. Comes out November 17th. And instead of pre-order, you can pre-utter it. And the deluxe edition is called a downgrade instead of an upgrade. So, but
I saw that. It was funny. Their description on it is good.
And Michelle, cover your ears. The best part is that it says invite up to 3 friends in local or online co-op.
No.
New Thursday adventures.
I'm not buying it. That's not going to happen. If you want to buy it for me, sure. I am not.
Well, by the time we're ready to
Game Pass, maybe.
By the time we're ready to get to it, it'll be like $10. I'm sure.
If it's on Game Pass and you can somehow convince Prue to do it, sure.
This is my new answer for the opening question, by the way. Goat Simulator, best game ever, greatest of all time. Goat.
I think
Nate.
You need to readjust your standards.
I know Nate's done all the Flappy Goats. He's good at this game.
Well, when I did one, I said I'm not going to let my skills go stale. So I just said I'm doing all of them right now.
Banged them all out.
So
I remember that.
Knocked it out. Same day.
There you go. That's the way to do it.
I think.
We are video game experts. Our skills will never go stale. Don't forget that. Achievement gurus, platformer gurus, simulator gurus. It's the only simulation game I'll play. Unless there's a zoo.
Well, boy, do I have news for you on that here in a few minutes.
Anyway, I would love people to share their Goat Simulator stories with me. Oh, I know that the space one has some annoying shooting things. I know both Katie and Sir Polygon both complained about this recently. I haven't gotten that far yet, but there's achievements for shooting things in vehicles. Did you do that one, Nate? Pirate ships and police ships.
I have done none of the DLC.
Okay.
I've only done the base game.
Okay. Well, you were in for a treat when you get to do them. They're fantastic.
All right.
If I had any respect, it is now gone. I don't think I have to worry about that.
No, I think you
I don't
lost
think I
that
have to worry.
a very long time
Yeah,
ago.
exactly. I don't think I have to worry.
All right. Well, if that, let's get into some sales. Elle, your turn to go first. Do you have anything that you would like to recommend?
Oh man. This week there was like 5 million things.
There's
So
so
when
much.
there's 5 million things, I tend to just go. The one that caught my eye was Rain in Your Parade, and the DLC had a bundle. And since it's not on Game Pass anymore, if you didn't get to that, I think the DLC alone was a few bucks. So you get the base game and the DLC for 50% off. It's $11.49. I love Rain in Your Parade. They did spell "your" wrong. It's supposed to be Yore. I don't know what they were thinking, but outside of that typo, it's a great game from a fun indie developer. I think there's a couple other people that picked several other games, so we'll go to them. I'll go.
All right.
Yeah.
Nate.
Oh,
Sure.
going rogue today.
Yeah. So this week there were a lot of things that I guess hadn't been on before or whatever, and my tabs were out of control. So here we go. I'm not gonna be too.
We can see them.
too long. First up, West of Dead, Path of the Crow Edition, $6 down from $21. This is a roguelite. It was on Game Pass for a long time. They also had the PC stack of it on Game Pass. This does not do both. You'd have to wait for a PC sale if you want to get both stacks done. This edition does not add any achievements, so it's still a base 1K, but it does add a new weapon, a new level, boss. I'm not sure if those help you in the base game or not, but base game was fun, and that base game is not on sale, so you'd have to go for the Crow Edition. Next up is Ghoul Boy, $2 down from $10. This is a platformer. It's 3 to 4 hours long, and it has kind of a Kid Icarus meets Ghouls and Goblins or Ghouls and Ghosts vibe. It looks like a fun little platformer. If you're into those, the price is fantastic at $2. Next up, Planet Alpha. I know I have mentioned this before. I'm mentioning it again. It's $5 down from $20. It's a platformer, but really it's a Limbo-like. 6 to 8 hours, cartoony, Limbo-like with a space theme. And it reminds me of Little Orpheus, which just released, I think this month, maybe even within the past week or two, which is currently not on sale, but I'm sure I will mention it when it does go on sale, because I like my Limbo likes. Next up, Stay Cool Kobayashi-san, a River City Ransom story. This is $3.89 down from $13. It's a beat 'em up. It's in the River City Ransom universe, so that's why I'm getting it, and I will gladly beat 'em up. Next up, The Suicide of Rachel Foster is $3 down from $20. This is an adventure, but really it's stroll playing. It's 2 to 3 hours. It does have a walkthrough. If you recall, we were discussing this pre-show. This is a game that when it released had a problem with every single achievement. It has since been patched, and there's, I think, 189 completions or something. It's definitely doable, and it seems like it's a short little experience, and for $3, seems like a deal. Next up, Them Bombs. $2 down from $9. I believe we've mentioned this one other time. This is a puzzle game. It's 1 to 2 hours. It is designed for 2 to 4 people. Player 1 is the one who's disarming a bomb, and players 2 through 4 are basically looking at manuals and kind of answering questions or telling you how to, first of all, you have to figure out which type of bomb it is, and then, which wires to cut, and you can't see each other's screens, so you have to do it all through descriptions and talking with a clock. So that's fun. This would be a great stream game. This would be a fun one to do on stream sometime, I think. But $2, that's a fantastic price. Lastly, a game to keep your eyes out for, because the price is not fantastic right now. Pray for the Gods. That's Praey. The typical spelling for the Gods. It's $2 down from $30. This is an action adventure open world game. It's never been on sale before. I think it's about a year old, so it's not too surprising that it hasn't been on sale. This is a spiritual, I don't want to say successor, so it's like the spiritual kin of Shadow of the Colossus on the PlayStation. Now, if you don't know what that is,
interesting.
It's a very unique game type, which I don't believe we've seen on the Xbox ecosystem, where you are hunting down monsters. Okay, that part's not unique. Once you get to the monster is a moving puzzle. And you have to figure out how you can climb or mount this monster to get to these weak points, and then dodge their attacks. And, all the while they're moving across the landscape. And you have to figure out how to get onto them, how to navigate up, how to dodge their attacks. Very cool game that we don't really, I think, have seen on Xbox. So, like I said, the price is high. This is $20 down from $30. But I suggest you take a look at it. It might be worth it since there is no other experience like it on the Xbox at this time. Or you may just want to put a pin in it and do a price watch. Hopefully, it'll get a better sale in the future. So just keep your eyes out for that one. And that's it for me.
I think I am going to price track that one. I always wanted to play Shadow of the Colossus, but never did. So a game sort of similar like that on Xbox. Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, that leaves. I guess I'll give my recommendations and we'll go to mid-show. I don't really have too many that we haven't mentioned before, but a couple that I do want to mention. Apparently, it's Anime Month again this month, and all the anime games, lots of Dragon Ball, lots of SAO and One Piece. So if you're into that kind of stuff, now's the time to grab them. I saw that a couple of them, like Dragon Ball Z Kakarot, is at its absolute lowest that it's been so far. And that's something I've had my eye on that I've really been wanting to play. And now that that's down to $15, I think that might be the time to snag that one up. But outside the anime games, nothing. I don't really have anything new to mention. Michelle, what would you like to recommend?
All right. So I felt inspired this week, and Koosh helped me. So I have a few games to recommend. First up, I'm going to recommend Let's Cook Together. This is $2.59 down from $12.99. It's a local co-op cooking game. It looks very, very much like Overcooked, which probably shouldn't surprise you. But it has way fewer Trek gamers. Seems to have reviewed pretty decently, though. There's not like a time estimate, but it seems to be completable. And for $2.59, something else to play with folks on the couch. Sounds like fun. Along that same vein, there's Scribblenauts Showdown, which is $3.99 down from $39.99. So it's a real significant discount. It is a party game that also has the puzzle tag, which is awesome for someone like me. Oh. And it's local, and it's another game you can only play locally. But this Scribblenauts Showdown is framed as a series of mini games. So it's sort of similar. I know, Elle, you've played this as well. I've played it at your place. Yeah. But it's similar-ish to like Mario Party, where there's kind of like a board, right? And you move through the board.
Ooh.
And you land on different spaces, and you play different mini games against people. So there'll be, but it's Scribblenauts. So it'll say something like, you're going to do a balancing game. So someone has to, both people have to pick something that begins with an H. And if you pick something like houses, you might not be able to balance them for very long. So, or you might have to do something with flying. And the person who chooses jumbo jet is probably going to go a little further than the person who picks kite. So it's fun. It engages you in the Scribblenauts way, but also is a series of pretty fun party games. They do a pretty good job with these cards that kind of equalize it. So if you have someone who's really good at the game, you can kind of pull them back somewhat frequently so that they don't just run away with it. And I believe you can play any of the mini games at any time too. Is that the case, Al?
Yes, you can play the mini games at any time. And funny enough, this week I did one of the mini games for my OTDL, and it is a Flappy Bird mini game, just like Flappy Goat.
And Kenny's out.
So, but the catch here is that yes, you don't know which letter you're going to get. You get a random letter, so that you can choose to do something heavy where you go slower, but you have less control, or you can choose something lighter where you're faster, but you'd probably have less control with that one. But yes, there's different ways of doing it. You pick the light thing or the heavy thing, and you have to just go up and down and around things. And I got that one done on like my 5th or 6th try, and that was a nice high ratio. So that is a fun game. I think it's 4 players, definitely at least 4. and you can create
Yeah,
all
I
bunch of
believe
characters.
4 is correct.
You're
Mhm.
unlocking cosmetics and all. I recommend that one a lot, especially for $4. Anyone with kids or who have people over for parties.
Now, I know you said local co-op. Is there online?
No.
No, and it wouldn't even work well in online. You need
Yeah, I didn't think so.
you need that local experience.
I was just wondering.
That's a good question. Also have a couple other games to recommend. So one more that I'm recommending before I get to the ones that Koosh suggested, which I also really liked. The Missing J.J. Macfield and the Island of Memories. This is a game by Swery. So if you know who Swery is, you know if you like him and you know if you don't. It is very strange. Very strange. You walk around and kind of use pieces of your body to navigate through the platforming portions. It is marked down right now to $7.49 from $29.99, which is the lowest price it's been at. Previous lowest one was $10.49 in 2020. This game doesn't go on sale a whole lot, as I recall. It's odd. If you don't like the aesthetic of it and sweary type games, you won't like it. But if you do, it's well worth the price and diving into that one. And then finally, we have another pair here. There's Indigo 7 Quest for Love Achievements. Please don't ask me where the first 6 went, L. I don't know. It is $5.99, down from $14.99. It looks like a puzzle game, but it's not called a puzzle game on TA. But it looks like some kind of hex-based type of game. It has only been tracked by 64 people. So I'm curious about getting in there and giving it a shot. And then this other game that was recommended is Marble Duel. And if you put marbles and puzzle together, you're probably going to come up with Zuma. And that's what this looks to be. It's a Zuma type game, or if you've played Sparkle 2 on the Xbox. And it's a dueling Zuma where you can either play against CPUs or play against other people. It is $4.99, down from $9.99. It looks like it's a little difficult to complete, but there's no hour estimate on it, so I'm interested to go in and give it a shot. So thank you for those recommendations, Koosh, and happy to recommend them out to others as well. And if anyone else chooses to try them, let me know. One other thing with Marble Duels, though, even though it looks like it has multiplayer flagging on TA, it's all local. So it doesn't look like there's any online stuff in that game.
Ah.
I felt that question coming.
I actually just assumed it was going to be online. I didn't think that's that. That's sad. I'm not the biggest puzzle fan, but I do love me some Zuma.
Yeah, I like Zuma too.
So,
I mean, I'm not particularly good at it, but I'm stubborn enough to get through them eventually. And this looks like it's that style of gameplay. It's not. I don't think it's easy to mess that up, so it should be fine. So I'm gonna give it a try.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Zuma's a hard completion.
Mm-hmm.
I've already made my peace with it that I'm never going to complete those games, so that's okay.
Nope, you won't.
No, they're too
ridiculous.
difficult. I am not good enough. I've tried quite often to complete those games, and I can't do it. Yeah, that's some good recommendations.
So many sales. So many
There's
sales.
so much on sale right now. If you have money burning a hole in your pocket, you can probably find something to spend it on. Everything seems to be on sale right now.
Mm-hmm.
But if you don't have money burning a hole in your pocket and you want to cheap out, just a reminder, this is last couple of days to pick up the games of gold. And possibly, or this will be the last time to pick up Xbox 360 games of gold. Games available now are Gods Will Fall, Double Kick Heroes, and Portal 2. We got a few more days left in the month.
They're free. Get Portal 2.
Exactly. Even if you just do like me, download them, then delete them, so you just have the license.
Don't
and that way
delete
you always
Portal
have
2. Play it. Play with
Did they
Brooke.
confirm-
Obviously, don't delete that one.
With the end of the Xbox 360 games as part of Games with Gold, that it's going to revert to only 2 games a month? Is that something that we're understanding that there's going to be sort of a 1 through 30 and a 15 through 15?
I don't think they've said.
Okay.
I don't think they've said either. I haven't seen anything.
All right. I'm
We'll
curious how
probably
they're
find out
going to play
minutes
this
after
in the
we're
next
done recording.
day or so. Yeah.
So, with that, I have a question.
Oh boy.
Uh-oh.
Considering that this is changing, would you guys rather have 4 mediocre games or 2 decent to good games a month? Do you guys want the quantity or do you want the quality?
I mean,
because over on the PlayStation side, they've been 2 games a month for the longest time now, but it's always been something, a little bit more AAA, a little higher value.
I mean,
whereas over on Games of Gold, we've been getting 4 games, and we usually get like 3 mediocre games and like 1 that's, hey, yeah, I might actually play that sometime.
I'd go for the 2 bigger games, especially since we have so many, like all these games we get. Like you said, you're just going to install them and not play them. If there's something of value, it might be something a couple years old, AAA game. If we already have it, we already have it. But if it's not, then it's a great deal, great added value. So I think I'd go with the 2 games that are betterer.
I think if I'm answering you honestly, I don't get to play any of these games anyway because there's just so much other stuff to play. So it's just more licenses to download. So I'm appreciative of whatever it is they decide to give us one way or the other. I get why people complain when the list comes out every month. I understand the impulse to do that, but it's a value add to what we're already getting with our subscriptions. So either way, it's stuff I will download, I will have in my library. I may or may not access it, but it doesn't really make a difference to me if it's AAA games or not, because the likelihood that I'll play it is pretty small.
Well, I guess I'll take the opposing point. Also because I think that's the way I feel. I wouldn't mind getting 4 smaller games because I probably already have the bigger games for the most part. So it would be nice, and I've been pleasantly surprised in the past with some of the smaller games that they've given out. I guess if they're not giving out 360 games, I don't know, maybe that changes things. However, there have been a lot of inexpensive Xbox One games that I've kind of passed on because they're like $5 or $6. If they were to give some of those things out, I'd be like, oh, okay, this is something that I just didn't buy before because it was risky. But if they're just giving it away, sure, why not? But I would not like them to be all 4 cheap games. I'd like to maybe get 1 or 2 decent. They could step down, like one really good one, the mid lane, and then 2 cheapies. That'd be cool.
There's a lot of
you, Kenny?
Yeah, I mean,
in between in this discussion though, because Portal 2 is a AAA game. It's older, so it's available for $20 pretty regularly. So you don't feel like you're getting that big benefit of it, and it's been available in other ways and whatnot. But Portal 2 is a AAA game. It's so it may not seem that way on the surface or at this time, but that's not a bad game to have gotten as part of this service.
No, absolutely not. And I don't think
that's the best one
anybody
would
argue
by far.
that.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to go ahead and assume that they're going to give us 2 crappy games a month from now on. But I don't think Kenny.
Love the optimism.
I don't think Kenny answered the question.
I'm honestly kind of between Nate and Michelle.
All right.
Where
okay, so
like a lot of these games, like I said before, a lot of these games, like I said before, I wind up just downloading it, maybe playing 1 or 2 of them for a little bit, and then just kind of uninstalling it because I'd rather play something else. But at the same time, I often have a month where it's just like, oh, look, I have 3 games where I don't own these. That's 3 new games I get to add to the library. Just building that backlog of games I'm never, ever actually going to play. But it's still cool to, load up your Xbox and see you have hundreds of games to play. Even if it is a little anxiety inducing to see. It's just like, what am I going to play this time?
Right, and I think that the part in my head that I'm probably not articulating super well is just that we've gotten like Call of Duty games and Assassin's Creed games and stuff through the service. It's just that it's the older ones. And I don't expect because they're moving to a possibly twice a month only Xbox One that we're going to get anything much different from that, because still getting that stuff as a permanent license, not just as something through Game Pass, is pretty cool. For, again, it's a value add. We're already paying for the service. So I think it's whatever they give is going to be fine. People are going to complain. Some people are going to defend it. At the end of the day, you're getting a license for a game you didn't purchase, hopefully, because I know that happened frequently to people where all 4 games they already owned. But it's all good either way. We come out ahead.
Yeah, that's how I see it. Now, one other question is, did they specifically say no more Xbox 360 games or just end of backwards compatible games? Because I'm sitting here looking at this OG Xbox Thrillville on here, so
Oh God.
is there a chance that we get more OG
No.
Xbox games?
Yeah, I feel like they only said Xbox 360, but I think the implication is that it's games via backwards compatibility.
That's what I was thinking. I just don't remember the specific language that they said. I assume it's only Xbox One and up from here on out.
There's no way we're gonna
I
get.
can't imagine we
No,
get OG.
there's no way.
And even some of those I wouldn't mind. Because there are good OG Xbox games.
No, there aren't. Next.
Liar. All right. But yes, some Game Pass news. Available now is Proteus on Xbox Series 1 and PC. If you're listening to this day of, Grounded the full release of Grounded on everything and Moonscars is available now.
Yeah.
Oh, actually, I had my dates wrong. That's available now as a recording. We're in October, right? Man, this last week, I don't know what day it is. Available when this podcast drops is Let's Build a Zoo.
No.
I'm so excited for this.
Fine.
And Valheim on the PC. You said our Thursday night crew, you'd play a zoo game. There's a zoo game.
Fine. No. Okay. Damn it.
And they have, you can crossbreed animals. And reading their propaganda, they said there's 300,000 different combinations. Nate, you want to get on this? I know you do.
Wait, did you say a zoo? A zoo game?
He likes the game.
Yeah.
No, thanks.
Come on, you get to play with us. Rocker jumped
And
in
you get to
just
build
to play
a
with
zoo.
us, and we haven't seen
And
him
it
since.
even has the old people graphics.
Ooh.
He's not taking that bait. All right. Well, if you're listening to the day of that this podcast drops, tomorrow is the game that Nate, I guess, will be excited for. That's Paw Patrol Grand Prix, September 30th.
Yep. I don't think we need to read that next thing again.
No, because they'll be pretty much gone.
Yeah, no, I'm not reading all that.
I did confirm, though, that they said it will no longer include Xbox 360 titles. So does that
Interesting.
No,
mean
stop
that
it.
we won't get
I can't.
OG? Because OG technically are playable on the 360. So I don't know.
Yeah, I am very,
were-
very interested to see how this goes.
They were repeating those as it was. I don't think so.
Were they? I don't recall that.
Yeah. Let's just say yes.
Sure. I know there's not a lot of OG Xbox games to begin with. But who knows? Maybe they do 2 Xbox One games and 2 OG Xbox games.
That would be
Hopefully
really.
we'll know by the time this podcast comes out, people can yell at us for being dumb.
That'll never happen.
That just would be a really
I know
bold
it'll never
move. A really bold move to be like, well, no more Xbox 360, but
Right.
we're just gonna keep offering you
4
some
OG Xbox
combination
games.
of these 2 games. Yeah, I mean, I guess stranger
Nah.
things have
Here's
happened.
Minesweeper.
Thrillville for the
They've had
6th
too
month
much
in
good
a row.
PR. They've had too much good PR lately. There's no way that they would do that.
All right, I like your confidence.
Well, with that, let's get into our last section. Brad Camp, take it away, Michelle.
All right, in Brad Camp, we have completions for this last week. Starting up with Crunchy Goblin 68, who's reached 150 completed games. Desert Fox 0420 has reached 250 completed games. Ace, just Ace, has reached 550 completed games. Domain, wow, when did we get all these just one name folks? Has hit
Right.
600 completed games. Northern Lass at 750 completed games. And Slayer reigning at 1,000 completed games. Congratulations on that milestone.
Wow.
Wow.
Well, you know,
In streaks.
I was going to say domain paid
We're
for the
going to
domain.
hold off a second.
Oh. I'm just making a good joke.
So go ahead. What's your joke?
Oh, the domain paid for the domain first, so that's why there's no numbers after or anything like that.
Gotcha.
Mm.
Nailed
It was
it.
totally worth it.
Mhm.
Nailed it.
Eh.
In streaks, as if nothing had been said before, Johnny Delicious and Jay Black are both celebrating a 50-day achievement win streak. Way to go, guys. Neon Prime currently with 100
Amateurs.
days. Z Drunken Monkeys with 450 days. Northern Lass with 750. EL Suck
In the game.
with 800 days. Unky Tim Fu
F.U.
with 2,150. Peru with 2,400. Plantain 42 with 3,350 days. And Mad Eye Pad Eye with 3,500 days. Celebrating their anniversaries, Surf Biscuit with a 3-year achievement win streak, and Seamus McLimey with a 6-year achievement win streak.
Seamus. Fella.
In gamer score, Princet and Dark Lord Davis have both hit 400,000 gamer score. ZZ Urban Spaceman
Thanks,
and
man.
Ace
Yay.
has hit 800,000 gamer score. Septic Earl has hit 850,000 gamer score. Isrit 102 and Chewing on Ice have both hit 1.1 million gamer score. Alicia has hit 1.2 million gamer score. And Slayer Reigning has hit 1.5 million gamer score.
In leaderboards, Fluttery Chicken is in the top 10,000 of the TA leaderboard for competitive ratio. I mean, that's a thing. Hat 90 is in the top 500 of the England TA difference leaderboard for automobile. High Road Vitu is in the top 500 of the TA difference leaderboard for racing. Magical Mars is second in the Mexico TA leaderboard for Connect.
Nice.
That is ridiculoso. And Planting 42 is third in the USA TA leaderboard for my favorite genre, vehicular combat. And Icefire, Timothy Icefire is number one in the Connecticut TA leaderboard for Vayners. That is
Nice.
awesome. So the thing I was looking for that I just found was I was going to give props to ZZ Urban Spaceman, who hit his 800,000 gamer score with an 80G achievement. And the achievement was called Game 80% Complete Achievement in Lego Star Wars 2, the original trilogy. So
Oh, cool.
he did a bunch of number stuff. Yeah,
Ew, he did it with a Lego game, though.
I mean, I was complimenting him, and he just had to go bash it.
Oh, no, the 800,000 is great. Like,
Lego Star
Good
Wars
job.
is not so great, I know, but
nah, just Lego. Lego games in general. Ew.
and then
And welcome to Unpopular Opinions with AH101.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I know. I hold that very unpopular opinion, especially amongst the Discord.
that Lego games suck. I don't think anyone disagrees with that.
Yeah, no. It's not like we have an entire month dedicated to them or
No,
anything.
never. I just think that they're easy to pick up and play since
Boring.
you can't really die, so you just play and collect stuff. Everyone likes collecting stuff, and everyone likes
Sure.
licensed games, and there you go.
Collect stuff for 400 hours
Yeah,
with absolutely no challenge.
Fun stuff.
Challenge is staying awake.
It's a very good challenge. That's why Jables is always sleepy.
All right. Well, that will do it for us this week. Thank you all for listening. As always, you can check us out on Twitter and Twitch and Discord and Patreon and YouTube and all the links We're everywhere. Either search AH101 or Achievement Hunting 101. All of our links are in the show notes. You can find everything through there, make it nice and easy for you. But with that, class is dismissed. See you all next week.
Bye-bye.
So long.
Oh, just a quick couple of things. Make sure that you stay safe. There's some scary floods coming. Everyone, please stay safe. And more importantly, make sure you play Goat Simulator 2 on Microsoft Windows 9. Take care, everybody.
Hello and welcome to Waka. For the second time this year, Ratalaika released a real good game coupled with a proper achievement list. Catmaze is a delightful Metroidvania inspired by Slavic folklore, and it is very good, especially when you consider it was made by a single developer. Sadly, it remains one of Ratalaika's least played games, at least by player count on TA. It is likely many more has tried the game, but the first achievement takes around an hour to unlock, which is longer than it takes to complete most Xbox games published by Ratalaika. The opening can also be a tad challenging. You play as Alesta, a young witch whose mother is taken to Nev, the realm of the dead, by the goddess Mara. Determined to save her mother, Alesta attempts to find a way to Nev to return her mother to the world of the living. The colorful pixel art is at odds with the grim tale of loss, gods, spirits, and cats. Catmaze is without a doubt a Metroidvania with tons of nooks and crannies to explore. The world is not very big, but dense and filled with secrets and side quests. It's not a very long game, but it can be rather challenging, especially at first before you power up. You start out very weak, and enemies can be time-consuming to take down, as they, like the player, has a short invulnerability window after getting hit. You also get weaker when you take damage, making you do less damage, discouraging you from playing carelessly. This is a divisive mechanic I personally could do without. Fortunately, the further you get, the less of a difference it makes. Upping your defense is unusually effective and will dramatically lower the difficulty. Just a few upgrades makes a ton of difference, making the game far easier. Alesta does not carry weapons. Instead, she summons spirits to attack her enemies, using bats, cats and snakes to cut through her enemies on her way to the realm of the dead. Catmaze's achievement list is rather good, with one glaring exception. Most of the achievements are for completing optional side quests, most of which are interesting. Maybe a bit too interesting if you are an achievement hunter, as doing them all before defeating the final boss will lock you out of the bad ending. This is the game's only missable achievement, but if you do miss it, you will have to play through the entire game again to unlock it. All known quests and objectives are marked with question marks on your map, giving you directions to points of interest, and right before the final boss, you are told the locations of all collectibles, which gives you various power-ups and achievements. I very much enjoyed my time with Catmaze, even though I was a bit worried I might miss the bad ending. Just make sure you do not do everything before defeating the final boss, then mop up the quests and defeat it again for the good ending. Currently, Catmaze's 20 achievements are worth 1000 gamerscore and 1500 TA, which is deceptively low, but far from impossible completion in around 10 hours. But it can be completed significantly faster if you follow a guide. $10 is a fair price for Catmaze. It's a low budget but high quality Metroidvania, and among the best games published by Ratalaika. I had a good time with it, and would expect most Metroidvania fans would as well. Have a nice day, everyone.